You are in the passenger seat. There is a pharmacy coming up on the right, and you need one thing from it: a small box. It would cost 11 minutes. You watch the sign get closer. You watch it come level with the window. You watch it slide behind you. And what you feel is almost relief, because nobody had to turn the car around for you. You have already done a smaller version of this today, probably more than once. Stay with me, because that relief is not politeness. It is a receipt. People who feel like a burden get told they have low self-esteem, that they are too hard on themselves, that they should be kinder to themselves, whatever that means. Every one of those explanations puts the problem inside you, like a setting you forgot to switch off. But this is not low self-esteem. This is bookkeeping. Somewhere along the way you were handed a ledger, and you have been keeping it every day since. Today we are going to read what is actually written in it. Start with your phone. There is a message on it right now that took you 4 minutes to write and should have taken 20 seconds. You typed the ask. Then you softened it. Then you added a reason you needed it so it would sound less like a want. Then you put no worries if not at the end, which is your way of building the other person an exit before they have even read the door. You do not ask and then get turned down. You turn yourself down first, quietly, so that nobody else has to do it. It shows up in small places. The cheapest thing on the menu, even when you are not counting money. Saying you are fine at the doctor when you are not fine. A friend asks how you have been, and you give it 11 words before you flip the question back to them. It shows up in a room too. 6 people are ordering, and you go last, and you order what will be easiest to split. Someone asks where you want to eat, and you say you really do not mind. And the strange part is that in that moment it is true. You genuinely cannot find the preference. You put it somewhere years ago and never labeled the box. And when you do ask, the loop starts. You needed a ride to the airport and they said yes, right away, no hesitation. You spent the whole drive apologizing at intervals, like a metronome. Sorry about the traffic. Sorry this is so early. Sorry I know this is a lot. Then that night, in bed, you played it back. Not the trip. The asking. Sound familiar? Here is what is happening underneath. You are keeping a running tab of what you cost people. Every favor goes in. Every time someone waited on you goes in. Every ride, every text they had to answer, every minute of attention you took while someone was tired. And the other column, the one where the things you give would go, stays blank. You do not write in it. It does not occur to you that it exists. But here is where it gets interesting, because a ledger with only one column is not accounting. It is a story with a conclusion already printed at the bottom. Psychologists draw a line between guilt and shame that matters here. June Tangney has spent a career on it. Guilt says, I did a bad thing. Shame says, I am a bad thing. Guilt points at an action so it can be fixed. You apologize, you repair it, you move on. Shame points at you, and there is no action to fix, because the problem is not something you did. The problem is that you exist, and existing takes up room. I am a burden is not a guilt sentence. Nobody ever says sorry, I will stop being a burden by Thursday. It is a shame sentence. That is why it does not respond to evidence. And it really does not respond to evidence. Watch what your mind does with kindness. Your friend says she loves having you over. You hear that she is polite. Your brother says he is glad you called. You hear that he did not want you to feel bad. Someone stays on the phone with you for an hour at midnight, and you spend the next day worried about their sleep. Every warm thing gets recoded on the way in. The ledger only accepts entries that agree with it. Researchers have a name for this belief. They call it perceived burdensomeness. And the word perceived is doing a lot of quiet work in the middle of it. It is a perception. It behaves like a fact. So where did the ledger come from? Because you were not born keeping it. Go back. You are 7, maybe 8. You are running a fever at school and the office calls your mother at work. She comes. She signs you out. And in the car, you say sorry. Nobody taught you that word for that moment. You found it yourself. You found it because you had already worked out that your temperature had a cost, and someone was paying it. Maybe it was not a sigh in a car. Maybe it was a house where money was thin and you learned to say you were not hungry. Maybe it was a parent who came apart sometimes, and you learned to have needs quietly and on a schedule that suited the weather in the room. Whatever the shape, the lesson was the same. Love was there, but it arrived when you were easy. Psychologists Avi Asar and Guy Roth studied this and called it parental conditional regard. Warmth that shows up when the child performs and thins out when the child needs. Their research found that children raised this way tend to comply on the outside while carrying resentment and a self-worth that keeps sliding around underneath. They learn to earn. And a child who has to earn their place starts counting. So the ledger is not a character flaw. It is a survival tool that worked. It kept you welcome in a house where being easy was the price of admission. The trouble is that nobody came along later to tell you the price had changed. And there is a second job the ledger does, one that is harder to admit. As long as you never ask, you never find out. You do not have to watch someone hesitate. You do not have to hear the pause before the yes, the half second where they are deciding. And you do not have to decide what that pause meant at 2 a.m. Not asking is not only humility, it is insurance. You keep the tab so you never have to hand it to anyone and see their face while they read it. Which means the belief has never actually been tested. It has just been protected. For years. And this is where it gets complicated, because look at how you apply the math. Think about the last time a friend called you in a bad state. Late, messy, one of those calls where they say sorry for calling 4 separate times. Did you resent it? Did you close a tab in your head and write down what it cost you? You did not. You were glad they picked you. You have said the words, call me anytime, and you meant them all the way down. So the same act, someone leaning on someone, comes out as connection when it is aimed at you and as debt when it comes from you. That is not a measurement. Measurements do not change based on who is standing on the scale. There is a study on this that I think about a lot. A researcher named Anna Bruck looked at how people judge vulnerability and found a split. When we picture ourselves being open, needing help, admitting something is hard, we expect it to look weak. When we watch someone else do it, we tend to find it courageous. She called it the beautiful mess effect. Same act, 2 verdicts, and you only ever hand out the harsh one to yourself. Here's the part I want you to sit with. You are not a burden. That sentence feels like a diagnosis you arrived at after years of careful observation, but it is not. It is a conclusion you reached before you were 9, using the only evidence a child had, which was a tired adult and a small room. The feeling is a memory. It is not a measurement. And the tab you have been keeping, the one you carry folded up in your pocket everywhere you go, nobody else is holding a copy. There is no other ledger. Look at the handwriting on it. It is yours. What you learned instead of asking was how to notice. You know who in the room has not been offered a drink. You feel it when a friend goes flat on the phone. You have never once made someone feel like an inconvenience. Because you know exactly what that feels like, and you would not hand it to anyone. That care is real, and you did not get it from a book. You got it from paying attention in a house where you had to. But notice what the counting has cost the people who love you. They do not get the version of you that says I had a bad day. They get the edited one, the easy one, the one who is always fine. They have been trying to reach you through a door you keep holding shut from the inside, and they cannot tell you that, because you never gave them the opening. Letting someone carry something for you is not a fee you charge them. It is the thing they have been asking for. You are allowed to keep the noticing and put down the counting. One more thing, said plainly. If that belief has gotten loud lately, please say it out loud to someone trained to hear. If it has moved past feeling like a nuisance and started telling you that people would have an easier time without you, that is the moment to bring in help. A therapist, a doctor, a helpline. Not because you are fragile. Because a belief that lies this well should not get to make its case in a room by itself. So here's what I would ask you to do this week. Make one small ask and do not decorate it. No reason attached. No worries if not. Just the sentence, plain, the way your friend would say it to you. And then leave a comment and tell me the smallest thing you did not ask for this week. The lift you did not request. The question you deleted. I read them, and I promise you, the list will look familiar to more people than you expect. You have been paying off a bill that nobody sent you. Set it down. The people who love you have been waiting for you to take up a little room. Subscribe to keep decoding yourself, and I'll see you in the next